Okay, so let's talk a bit about earned value management. Earned value management is a project management technique or a set of techniques for calculating project status. Why is that important? Too often we use subjective criteria. We think the project's going well. Well, what is the basis of that? The whole idea of earned value management is we have a technique for actually calculating the project status where we compare the planned work to the completed work and to the cost of that completed work. And there's three values essentially that we calculate. The planned value, which in the past was called the budgeted cost of work schedule. The earned value, which in the past was the budgeted cost of work performed, and the actual cost, or the actual cost of work performed. Those three metrics are used in combination along with cumulative variances to calculate or identify where we are in a project. Okay, who cares? Why is this even important? Well, first of all, project status should be driven by data. We all have our gut impressions on where the project is. That's wonderful. But I want to see data. I want to see the data that, first of all, makes me trust that the project manager's gut is really in line with reality. And secondly, that monitoring from the data tells me where the attention should be paid as a result of my control variances or my relationships between plan and actual value, the schedule variance, and the relationship between actual value, what we really accomplished, and the cost of that value. We expect that there's some churn in a project. We're not always going to be 100% on plan. But a pronounced negative trend indicates that there's an area of concern that we need to dive deeper on. A positive trend also, simply because we may have overestimated and we're executing much better than we anticipated. But it's the negative trend that's really important to us, because that indicates either we are going to be over budget and we're going to be late. Those of you who are going to sit for the PMP exam, you will see an interview. You will see questions on earned value management, and if you're applying or interviewing for a position of a senior project manager, guaranteed that'll be one of the questions asked in the interview. You'll have to explain it. So those of you who are potentially going to interview for project management positions or sit for the PMP really should care about this. So some other considerations. Number one, it's not without controversy among project managers. Not all project managers, senior project managers, or academic project managers agree on the importance of earned value management. It's easy to misinterpret. It may misstate status. It's very difficult for stakeholders to understand. I would not put this in front of our customers or clients. And it can be difficult and time-consuming to calculate if we're not using a scheduling tool such as Microsoft Project. It's one of our tools, and as with any tool, there are times and places where it may be best and worst used. It's the old story of the carpenter with a hammer who sees everything as a nail. Sometimes the investment in earned value management just isn't worth it. Let's look at an example here. We've got 5 activities over the course of 7 project work periods. And in the top chart, I've calculated the planned value, or the budgeted work cost of work scheduled. You can see the values there. In the middle is the earned value, what was actually been accomplished, so a snapshot of what's actually occurred. And in the bottom, the actual cost of that work. So if we compare the top table with the middle table, we can see that just looking at AA, we're behind. We've accomplished earned value. We've earned the value by of $10,350. within the period, as opposed to the planned value, which should have been at 10,600. But look at AB. Here, the planned value was 16,400. The actual earned value was 11,650. So if we look at AA and AB, they're both behind. AB, also, if I look at the bottom metric, the cost, AB is underspending. We're not spending as much as we anticipated. The actual cost for the work that we have done is lower than anticipated. Compare the AA activity, where earned value was $10,350, and we've spent almost $1,900 more than planned if we compare the actual cost. Similarly, looking at AC, I'm right on in terms of accomplishment. My planned value and earned value are the same, but look at the actual cost. Actual cost for AC is $17,800, so that's almost $2,500 more than what we had originally. The actual cost is $2,500 more than planned. So comparing the time periods, we can see in a direct relationship, just looking at column 1 or period 1, 2,800, 2,300, 2,300, 3,300, 1,850, 1,800, 3,200, 3,200. Do our comparison of period 2, our comparison of period 3, and so on and so forth. So we can do a direct comparison period by period and see where we are. Let's look at our variances now. The AA schedule variance in period 1 is minus 500. We're $500 behind for AA. Our planned value is 2,800. Our actual earned value is 2,300. That's 500 less, but the actual cost is at 0. For AB, planned value is 3,300. We've accomplished much less than we planned, 1,850. An actual cost of 1,800. So our schedule variance is a negative 1,450, a little bit below in cost. AC is right on plan. Look at our period variance, our cumulative variance, since it's the first period. Cumulative matches the period variance. We're $1,950 behind in period 1. Now, if we go to period 2, AA has a schedule variance of 350. It's a little bit below where anticipated. And just for period 2, if we compare AB, we've only earned 2,100, so we're behind by 1,400 in comparison with plan. But the actual cost is 0. So now our cumulative variance, reflecting the combination of the period variance in period 1 and period 2, is a whopping 3,700. We're really falling behind here. If we go to our next set of variances in period 3, then, schedule variance is minus 200. AB, we've actually caught up. We've caught up. We're at 1,300 ahead. That negative sign is incorrect under AB schedule variance. That should be a positive 1,300. Sorry about that. On the cost value, we're overspending by 300 now. But if I look at our cumulative variance, compare cumulative variance for schedule in period 3 to period 2, 3,700 compared to 3,600. Well, we've rectified the cumulative variance for about $100. That's that period variance for period 3, but we're still behind. But our spending's pretty good. We're kind of right where we need to be in spending. In period 4, then, our schedule variance is 200. Now we've fallen behind. Something happened on AB. Look at that 3,200 variance, which has caused us now to have a cumulative variance of 7,300. If I were to plot the trend, that is a decreased downward trend in performance. Not a good thing. In period 5, look what happens. We've accomplished a whole lot more. We've actually caught up for period 5. In period 5, our cumulative variance is now only 800 for schedule. We're behind, but we've caught up considerably, but at a very high cost. Look at that cost variance for period 5. The cumulative variances were now 4,200 overspend. If I look at our cumulative variance over time then, period to period, we may be on time or behind, over budget or under. The cumulative variance sums across the project. So if I look at period 5 here, it smoothed out my variances over time. So I know I'm over budget. I'm going to have to put a PCR into my customer to increase the budget, but I've caught up a great deal on schedule. In period 6, we can see what our execution is going to be, but I also want to point something else out. Even though for AB here, this is our original chart, my total is 16,400. It's my total planned value. At the end of period 5, I appear to be in really good shape, a 600 schedule variance, and I'm ahead by $300. But the reality is, if I look at my total comparison, earned value is 11,650 here. The total earned value projection is 16,400. I'm actually pretty far behind on AB. This is very much late. I'm over budget. I still have $4,750 in funding and work that needs to be completed, but only 600 remaining in the plan here if I look at the combination of 6 and 7. So that means I need to add another $4,750 worth of planned value here. I need to raise those numbers. That's my PCR. I need to keep resources focused, or I'm going to be late again on AB, and that 4,200 is going to be a problem for us. We're going to be even more over budget when I start putting in the remainder of work that's required for AB in periods 6 and 7. So summary, EVM is a tool that can help us manage. The variances indicate where further detail is required. In other words, here the variances show us where we need to get much more deeply involved in a specific activity. The cumulative variances smooth out the period-to-period trends, but it's also easy to be misled by data. As Mark Twain used to say, there are lies, damn lies, and statistics. An EVM is useful in suggesting where we need to dive into the details, especially for those projects with hundreds of activities where we can't look at every single activity and keep track of the status of all those activities. EVM helps us identify where we need to dive in. Looking here at period 5, and the period and my cumulative variance, I might miss the importance of diving into AC here. AC and AB. So it's not an automatic thing. It helps us point out deficiencies and potential problems that we need to dive deeper into. I hope you all have found this of value. See you later.